$12 million in 10 months. And I think the advantage that I had over most YouTubers is that I was an analyst. I tailored the video based on what I found in those analytics, and bang.
It's an 8 million views.
It was this like beautiful funnel where the right people were staying to the right time and getting the right thing. So the retention rate went through the roof. Daniel Priestley caught wind of it. He came around to my studio. He was like, this is, crazy. Like, they all at least 10x'd any other video on their channel within a few months.
You spent some time on Necker Island.
Like, being with Richard Branson, he's like the billionaire that all billionaires want to be. He's just got it. Amazing.
Well, it's nice that a billionaire has an island and they're using it for good. It's,
Always free is this state of being content. I think it's what everyone wants. What do you want as a person? Or you're trying to please and appease Andrew Tate or a hustle culture guy. You're a slave to someone's idea. And this is like a real game changer, which I've told to people. I'm surprised no one knows about this.
Jason, how are you, mate?
I'm good.
Awesome. Jason, you are a massive advocate for giving everything away for free. You've got the world's most viewed trading YouTube video, and you've made tens of millions of pounds through your content. What do you know that others don't?
It's a funny story because being an analyst, you'd think that I would have analyzed the back end of YouTube a little bit earlier on. I spent 8 years on YouTube before I decided to, there's some analytics to this that I should probably check out, being an analyst, And I sat down, I printed everything out, had everything in front of me, and I thought, this is fucking obvious, This is really obvious. And I think the advantage that I had was over most YouTubers is that I was an analyst. And looking at those analytics, it was just so obvious to me that there were certain things, because I had so much data, I had so many videos over 8 years. I was almost certain that next video that I put out would blow up. And I tailored the video based on what I'd found in those analytics, and bang.
And that was the video?
That was the one. And to this day, it's still the main driver to my channel.
How long ago did you upload it?
2 years ago.
It's an 8 million views.
8 million views. And it's like, I got the thing on, you get like a weekly like insights thing from YouTube. I got it on Monday. Still that video, still that video. And it's where it's being found most is on YouTube homepage. And then 67% of it is being found by YouTube recommends. And so it's really like...
YouTube's still pushing it.
Still pushing it.
How long is the video again?
2 hours, 34 minutes.
2 hour and 34 minute video.
Yeah, everything away for free.
Views.
Everything away for free. Yeah.
And by you giving away everything for free, how much money did you make from that one video?
We made 1.6 million in 3 months. And then we made $12 million in 10 months. And then today I've just, I've stopped counting.
What a great problem.
Yeah, once you get to 8 figures, it's like, it's all right, I'll leave it now.
We stopped like tracking revenue attributable like to that video, but it's continuing to bring in like, I don't know, 30 sales a day or something of the programs.
How does the funnel work for that video? How does that, because like you say, you're giving everything away for free. I'm sure there's ad revenue on it, etc. But how do you make the $12 million through that one video?
So the initial funnel was, the energy that went into the video was how can I create a video where no one will have any questions for me after and they won't need me, right? That was the genuine question. So every time I sat down and did parts of the video, it was like, how can I create this so no one will need me? How can I create this so no one need me? And I believe that energy really went into the video and it went out into the world. And because I think humans, especially now with AI, I think we're really attuned to spotting real and like authentic and congruency and generosity. I think humans are becoming like laser focused on that now. And we're almost like being disgusted at AI. It's like, oh, that's AI, and you're discarding it. So you really pluck out what's real. So it's important to put that energy into the video. And I think it went out in the video, right? So that was the first thing. The second thing was I had no expectation of anything. So right at the end, I basically say, look, I've given you everything you need now. There is nothing you need from me, right? You can now take all the information in this video and go and do everything. And at the beginning of the video, I said, why am I doing this? Well, ChatGPT will give you all the information you want, right? You can go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a better trader than me. ChatGPT is a better investor than me. ChatGPT will build better businesses than me, right? So if all the information's there, why don't you go there? You're not going there because you want someone who's actually done it. You want to be handheld. You want some proven frameworks, right? And I said, information's worthless. It's all on ChatGPT. So why am I doing this? The reason I'm doing this is because there's so much shit information out there that if I just give you this, then you can do what you like with it, and I can sleep at night knowing that if you follow that, you've got your best interest there, and you should have good results, right? That's why I'm doing it. And then at the end, I say, you don't need me now. You've got everything. I'm a fan of like telling them what I'm going to give them, giving them what I'm giving them, and then telling them what I gave them. And it really kind of reinforces like this, the perception of value just goes up massively.
That real authenticity.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And then at the end of the video, I reaffirm what I taught them. I said, you don't need me anymore. But then I say, and this is where like the subtleness comes in of a call to action. I said, I get what I said at the beginning of the video. It's all about information, right? Most people won't do anything with it. You might need hand holding for a bit more confidence. Therefore, you can do a 30-day challenge, right? And the 30-day challenge, I hid the link right low in the description so they couldn't even find it, and at the end of the video, I say the link's in the description for this 30-day challenge. And the 30-day challenge was £297. And it had, basically it's a 30-day drip fed video every day with a group, and don't take any of my time because it's like an automated thing. They join a group, they get a load of peers, and it has this kind of flywheel effect where everyone's like checking their homework every day and submitting homework and stuff, and there's tests every day. And so we set that up, run that. £297 is a price point where if you're getting your feet wet, you're not really going to be pissed off if you do it and you think it's not for me. You're not going to feel ripped off, so that's a bonus. Also, if you do it and you do well, you're going to love me as well, right? So it's like, so it was a win-win. And what we found was the video was so there was a lot of things that we did in the video that YouTube favor. So things like getting people to, I think the way that I look at YouTube is they work for me. So I think a lot of people go into YouTube thinking, I've got to crack YouTube. I see them as someone who works for me. All I've got to do is be a good creator, right? And they will then work for me, right? So I don't want to hook and grab people. What I want to do is I just want to produce some amazing content, and then they will do it. They'll share it. They'll find who's online at the right time. I haven't got to post it at the right time. I just post, and it's their job to do all that as far as I'm concerned. And their job is to fit my content with the perfect person searching for that exact content, right? So the call to action at the end was £297. YouTube then just promoted it like hell. And so the funnel was 1.6 million people watched this thing in 3 months. 0.4% of those people bought that call to action, right? Which was
it's got crazy high
Yeah.
conversion rate for a £300 product.
Yeah, right. 5,550 people bought it in a 3-month period, which was insane. You see, like, I've never experienced anything like that ever. And then we had another upsell after the 30 days for £899. So I think the key here is a lot of people have like high ticket stuff, or they imagine their sales ecosystem. They have too much of a gap between product prices. Mm-hmm. So you're like trying to hike someone. I see it as like trying to hike someone over a wall, and using all that effort, like salespeople and like convincing people to get over the wall, right? Whereas I like to go, well, if I want to make 20 grand off of one person, I'll just split it over like 6 or 7 products,
really,
at cheaper, right? So then they sell themselves, because if you over deliver on each of those products and all the prices are low, then they're going to sell themselves on the next thing, because they've just watched 2.5 hour video, right? Imagine this. They're never going to go and search that video again and find someone else, because they've just spent 2.5 hours with me. So they're just like, right, what's the next thing? Then it's a 30-day video. It's 30 days with me, right? And they are with me for 30 days. 1, the video, 1, the email that comes up after them, the homework, the group, submit the homework. It feels very real every day for 30 days for £297. Then after that, insane value. This feels like more value than I've got from a 2.5 grand course or whatever that someone else is. The next thing's £899. And it's like, right, that's no brainer. £899. I trust this person. I'm going to pay. So they sell themselves without you having to go, you should buy that thing, or, do you want to buy the next thing? Do you want to buy the next thing? We don't have any sales team. We don't have any marketing or nothing. Like, there's no ads, nothing, right? So after the 899, then there was a 1500, then there was a 2500, right? So instead of having 3 products or 2 products, we have 5 or 4 or 5.
And what was the difference between them? Because how much more can you offer each time?
Well, it was different, varying levels of a mastermind, basically.
Okay.
Right. So, in-person meetups you could come to, Zoom calls, additional content, more strategies, things like that, and you just package each thing up. They're all insanely valuable, but remember, even if they just watch a 2.5 hour video, they could get the result, right? So all of these other things,
it's more about hand holding.
Yeah,
access.
It's all hand holding. That's it. It's just getting closer. Tony Robbins, everyone knows Tony Robbins for like unlimited power within, like the UPW, where you go and beat your chest and walk on hot coals. What they don't see is there is a deep funnel with Tony Robbins. Like, there are people paying 70 grand just to go and touch the guy in Africa, and feed people. But that is in the depths of his funnel, where you've got these raving fans. Like, let me just pay whatever just to touch you and be in your clique. That's how people work.
Do you spend money on stuff like that yourself?
On like
access, masterminds,
yeah,
courses?
Absolutely, yeah. Since I'm 22, I've spent 10% of my income on development. So,
really?
Yeah.
What sort of stuff?
Masterminds, coaching, books, mentorships, programs. Yeah, I don't stop. I probably spend 40 grand a year on just masterminds. Last year we spent about 70 grand on masterminds.
Wow.
I imagine that helps massively in creating your own stuff.
Well,
right?
it's just, I wouldn't spend it if there wasn't a return.
Yeah,
and there is a return. Like, every single time there's a return. There's a great saying: if you empty your pockets into your mind fills your pockets. And you do that by being around people, learning, developing, right? Well, it, right? You come over to Dubai, you're just building a business that's starting to take off, and it's all as a result of being who you know and being connected and investing in your development. So yeah, absolutely.
So through those 5 upsells, then the 5,500 people in the first few months, and everyone else from there, the revenue then got to above $10 million.
Yeah, so we did 5,550 people within 3 months bought the first thing. There was a higher conversion. There's about 5% conversion for the next thing, because obviously those people just trust you more. So that went up to 5%.
They're already in for money as well.
And then there was a 15% conversion on the next thing. Yeah. So within 3 months, it was about 1.6 or 1.8 million dollars, and then 10 months later, it was $12 million, £9 million basically.
And it still generates money today.
And it's generating money. The ad rev's like 250 grand, and then all the funnel stuff in the back end made up the rest of it.
It's mad. YouTubers think most of their money is made from advertising, and we're saying this as people in that business, but 250 grand from ads, but $12 million from selling your own shit. And
exactly.
It's a crazy difference, right?
Exactly.
And I'm even going to put a funky QR code on the screen.
You're going to.
Do you know why? Because I'm saving time on all the other stuff because I've got Riverside.fm.
Wow. Back to the episode.
If you want to get granular about the strategy, like, there is, it doesn't look like a YouTube video. Like, we created, so the introduction is like, you're getting people to unlock features of YouTube that YouTube then work for you and see you as a good creator. So one of the things, and this is kind of where I went off on a tangent earlier, but one of the things that YouTube love to see is if you can command an instruction and they can see that the people watching it are doing it, they're seeing that as you're an influential person. So that gives them confidence in you, meaning that they should prioritize your videos, because if they're going to spend their clients' money on your videos, they're going to get people to do stuff on your videos, right? Just really simply, when you think about it like that. So what I mean by command people to do stuff, I open the video and I say, right, this is going to be a long video, right? So I wasn't after people. I wasn't going, make sure you stay to the end, because I don't want, like, it's a 2.5 hour video. If you've got a short attention span, just go to TikTok, right? But it was like, I don't want to say that. So I want to say, this is going to be a video you're going to watch more than once. You better save this now, because this is all you're going to need, this video. Also, if you've got premium, make sure you download it, because when you're on a flight and you've got no Wi-Fi, perfect time to get stuck into this with no distractions, right? If you're in a walk or in your wherever.
Smart.
Also, introduce yourself in the comments, because this is a community and I want to know where you're watching from. Let's all meet each other. So I'm introducing it like it's a program. And then I say, download the workbook that I've created. So we created a workbook for the video that they could then print out, put on an iPad. And it's basically, I went through the video, created a workbook of questions and diagrams and the notes that it just feels like a course. It feels like a program. You don't get workbooks for YouTube videos, right? So, but what I'm doing is I'm asking them to click the download, and YouTube is seeing me do an instruction and they're actually doing it. So they're going into that description and they're going, save, download, click this, right? So I'm getting them to comment. Yeah, they've commented, right? So they're following my instructions, and YouTube love that.
See the interaction.
They love that, right? Because they see you as a valuable contributor and people are doing what you say. And I didn't put an email behind, like an email wall behind the workbook. And then interestingly, what I did, about halfway, 60% through the video, I created a template. And I said, and bearing in mind, they've watched like an hour and 10 minutes at this point. And the length of the video matters as well, because there seems to be a perception of value that increases when they can see 2 colons on the time, because the amount of emails that I've got where they say, oh, you know, how did I find you? I searched it online. I saw the top video. Then I saw your one and it was 2.5 hours. And I thought, that's the real deal. So I'll watch that one. So that long time, at least an hour, I'd recommend if anyone's going to do this.
Pass an interrupt to what other people do as well.
Yeah.
Which is probably why, right?
Yeah. And it's just like, this is serious. If you, in fact, if you're watching this, type in full course tutorial onto YouTube right now and look at all of the videos. They'll all be millions of views and they'll all be over 2 hours long. There's a Python one that's 10 hours and it's got 46 million
That's
views.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So again, do that. And then what you do is they watched about 60% of the video. At this point, they are mega trusting me, right? It's like, this guy's like, yeah, this is exactly, he hasn't asked for anything yet. And then what I did is I created this backtesting spreadsheet. So if you've got a business where you use a template of your own, or you've created a template for something, you can show them how to track it or use a template, or you can say, this is my one, you can go and get my one if you want, or this is how you create it. So even that, I created on Excel or Google Sheets, but I said, I've got my template, you can go and download that if you like, or just create it like this. So in their head, they're like, oh, he's showing me how to do it. I could do it myself, but I trust this guy, I'll go and get his one. By this time, they've watched 60% of the video. They click that, and that's behind the email wall, right? Because at that point, they're not questioning. And yeah, I'd gladly give an email for this. You know, this is so
They're already bought in enough.
exactly.
They're
So
an hour and whatever it costs.
Yeah. So what happened was this like beautiful funnel where the right people were staying to the right time and getting the right thing, and then it was almost like filtering out anyone that just. It's like this amazing way
Micro
of
levels to the funnel, right? Because I'm putting myself in the the audience's position. You're clicking on this video thinking, cool, right? I'm going to, first of all, someone who clicks on that video is serious. They're not looking for a 10-minute how to get rich quick, right? They're like, I want to learn this properly, like you say. So there's already intention on the person clicking it.
Yeah.
But then you've got the little steps, like getting someone to comment, making it feel like a course, a workbook. And it's like all of a sudden they've clicked for a comprehensive video and now they feel like they're in a course almost without realizing. Because if they realize it was a course before clicking it, they might not have clicked it. But it's like those little incremental steps, kind of like what you said with your pricing, where it's not a big commitment. It's always just one step up. Oh, email.
that you've acclimatized to as well, right?
Exactly.
So you've spent £300, then you've spent £800, right? But then you're going to spend £1,500, which isn't really a lot more in comparison.
Every time you're acclimatized.
Yeah, right. Every time they've got so much value. You have to provide way more value than you think £1,500 worth. But that's easy to do when you sit there and package up stuff. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah. And particularly if you give it with the energy of like, I don't want them to need me anymore. So every product's created that way. Like after 30 days, how do I do it so they don't need me? And then you're selling them the next thing. And it's like, yeah, I just want the next thing, because it's not about selling them a thing anymore. It's not about them buying a new result. It's about them just getting closer to you and getting more hand holding and more like, that's all it's about in the end. It's not really about teaching them more stuff. It's not, because I taught them all the stuff in the first video, you know? So really, really fascinating. The other thing, which was a game changer for my channel, and this is like a real game changer, which I've told to people. I'm surprised no one knows about this. And when I tell people, they're like, I never thought about that. But if you've got playlists on your YouTube channel, right? If you click on your playlist, in the URL, there'll be a big URL, right? And there'll be an and sign, and everything to the right of the and sign, right? You want to save that piece of the URL to your notes, right? And then every video you share the link of your video, but add that bit to the end. And what happens is they'll click on the video, and then your playlist will be on the page. Now, this is why it's important, right? Let's just say that we're on this podcast and you fire off a reel and you put it on Instagram, and you've got millions of followers, right? Or 500,000 followers or whatever it is. And you tag me. I can then take that reel and I can put it on my story, and I can use this link that I've just told you about. You're going to reshare it because it's your channel and your video, right? And I'm saying, look, these guys are amazing. I was on their podcast, go and check them out. But the difference is when they click on the podcast, they're going to watch this podcast, but every other video on the page is going to be mine on a playlist. So the retention rate went through the roof because they're getting a bit of value. Like they might get one nugget from this, and then they're going to be watching all my videos. Like it's there for them. I did it with Ty Lopez. I went on Ty Lopez's podcast. He had 5 million YouTube subscribers. And I just promoted the podcast that I was on with him, but had that link. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'll post that, repost that. He's sending it out, sending it to all his audience all the time. And it's my playlist. Right? So, and then any video that you share, and there's another really good tip. There's a site called Opening App. So if you ever clicked on a YouTube video and it opens in like an external browser and it says sign in or open app, if you do it on LinkedIn or do it off of Facebook, it will just open up like this external browser. Well, YouTube don't know who's watching at that point because you're not signed in. It'll ask you to open the app. So there's a site called Opening App. So you take the link that I just told you about, paste it into Opening App. It will give you like a little shortened link. And what that does is it natively opens the app on people's phones. So immediately it's tracking them as a prospect who's watching as well. Right. That was a game changer. Like these two tips, like don't underestimate them. They changed the game for my channel.
That's crazy.
When we come in here, we overheard you talking to somebody else saying that you've been working with Daniel Priestley on some of this stuff, and he's just hit 100,000 subscribers very quickly. Yeah. What did you tell him, and who else are you working with?
I showed him the framework. So basically, after that video blew up, about a year passed, and I thought there's definitely something in this. I mapped out exactly what I sat down and mapped out on the day that I went through the analytics. I put it into a framework and a process, and I tested it with someone called Phil Harris, who's a DJ. His video went, I think it's at 800,000 at the moment, but it just went nuts. He was getting like 5,000, 10,000 views on his channel. This one went to 800,000. And then I tested it with a guy who does business strategy. He went to 1.1 million views. 200 leads every week, wow. 80 emails a day or something he was getting at the beginning, which was crazy. And I was like, right, it works. It works. Then I tested it with an AI consultant. Then I tested it with a dental practice. Then I tested it with like various other people, and they all did similar. Like they all at least 10x'd any other video on their channel within a few months. So, Daniel Priestley caught wind of it. He came around to my studio. He was like, this is crazy. He started working with his content team to be more focused on long form stuff and do the stuff that we was talking about. And in 3 months, he went from 0 to 300,000. I mean, he has been on Diary of a CEO a lot, but if you look at his content, it's all this format. It's like giving away everything without expectation, which has been insane. In terms of revenue, I'm sure that's helping his business. He wasn't actually going for a sale, but in terms of YouTube growth alone, he's now hit the 100K mark. He's probably getting a few grand a month on ad rev, maybe, which is amazing, right? Amazing. And then there's a guy called Adam Stott who runs big business events. He now wants me to do boot camps with his guys on this whole process. So it's kind of taken off. I think, I don't think it's a new thing, and I don't think it will there's a time limit on it. I just think this is the way forward. Like the more AI comes in, the more we want long form, spend time with human beings. Like actually you got the results and now you're teaching me it. Let me get closer to you. And I think it'll be, I advise everyone to do this because it's just.
The more it pays to do the opposite, right?
Yeah.
And we found that beyond content, we found that with outreach, because now everyone, when they do outreach, is using AI and fake personalization. And we've gone, okay, let's do the opposite to AI outreach and go hyper personalized videos. Like,
right.
It takes so much time for each prospect. But now that everyone's receiving 10 copy and pasted emails, which read off your bio in the first paragraph to make you think it's personalized, it's like,
there's no edge.
Yeah. And then when you do something completely the opposite, it's just working better and better and better for us.
Humans will tune into humans. I said this about 4 years ago when AI started coming. I said, now AI, I think it was ChatGPT like 1 or whatever it was. I said, now this is a thing. Humans will start tuning in to how things are being said. So it won't just be like, and it is like, you can tell when ChatGPT's written something, and humans will almost start to become repelled by that. It'll be like, ugh, like it'll make you feel sick. It's like, oh yeah, it's AI. That's how I think we're going to go. And they'll be tuned in to like listen to how things are being said, so that they can go, that's real. That's real. And particularly youngsters. Like I look at my sons, and they can just tell, like even better than me. They know, and I ask them, I'm like, how did you know that? And they're like, yeah, it's just that or this, and it's like they just see it.
Sometimes you don't even know how you know, you just know.
Yeah,
like, you look at it, it's like that's AI.
Intuition. Yeah, intuition, and that is what AI can't get around.
Yeah,
humans just know. We just know, and I think the more you can be real and authentic, congruent, and produce something that connects from a real human, that will be your edge. That will definitely be your edge.
Since we last spoke, you've spent some time on Necker Island. First of all, how did that happen? And secondly, tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that coming, to be honest. Daniel Priestley invited me there. He got invited by Noah, who's Richard's nephew. And I find myself on Necker with, 40 amazing entrepreneurs. Al Barrett, who sold Grenade. Dom, who owns Runner, the app. Some phenomenal people there. And just, it's indescribable, man. Like being with Richard Branson, he's like the billionaire that all billionaires want to be. He's just got it, he's got it. And his family love him. He puts his fitness first. Everyone came away from that trip prioritizing their health, because the guy is just like, we were cycling up a 2,000-foot mountain, and he's the only guy that didn't get off the pedals, and he's 75. And
that's mental.
It's crazy. I was just looking at him, like walking my bike up this hill, and he's ahead just like pedaling, and I'm like, how? How? But you come away thinking there's really no excuse. There's no excuse. And health is a massive priority. But so it came about as just a result of doing what I'm doing, I suppose. Daniel was asked to bring some cool people that he thought would fit the bill. I was one of them, and now it's opened up lots of other opportunities. But what was it like there? Yeah, indescribable, mate. It's a private island, which, unless you've been to a private island, you can't really describe it. Like, it's weird. It's not like a resort. It's not a hotel. There's no shops. Like it's a private island, but it's very much his house open. You're very welcome. There's games everywhere. It's all about connection, and it's all about go to the tennis court, go to the chess tables, go to the pool table, go in the pool, go to the pool bar. And there's games everywhere, paddle, and and there's animals running around, and it's just a phenomenal place.
Sounds like it's not real.
It feels like it's not real when you're there, which is why it's hard for me to kind of articulate it. But yeah, amazing.
Well, it's nice that a billionaire has an island and they're using it for good. Really. All right, so complete change of subject. The book's out.
It is.
Why did you write it?
I wrote it because, one, it was a download of my thoughts that were stored in my head for many years, and I needed to release some free up some grey matter, I suppose. It's an amazing thing when you write a book. You formalize and formalize and process your frameworks that you have in your head, and it becomes real. But also that information is now out of my head and I can let it rest. I don't have to think about it or remember it anymore. And you get this kind of release of like, I almost slept better when that was published, you know, because it's like, I don't have to remember that anymore. It's like putting this physical book of your thoughts out there that you don't have to then think about and remember. So it was an amazing process, very therapeutic, but it took me 7 years to write. I was never really happy with it, so I kept rewriting it, tweaking it. And then in the end, you have to kind of remember, particularly if you're self-developing yourself all the time, stuff not outdated, but you feel like it's never enough like you want to include what you've learned in the book, you know, and you get to a point where you have to think, people will find this valuable. You know, there's people like way back there that need this, and that's enough for them, and, you know, let it go. And that was the toughest bit, but yeah, it was out. I wrote it because I believe everyone wants to be always free. I think people chase and chase and chase, and they don't know they're chasing. And this is a great realization on Necker. You know, I think I told you when I was on last time, but when you're 7 years old, you're just playing games out with your friends and football and all that, and your parents call you in for bed, and you're like, you know, when I'm older, no one's telling me what to do. I'll be free. And then as adults become adults, they become less free. And they're further and further away from being 7 years old, right? When I went to Necker Island, I'm surrounded by people who are at the top of their game. So this is what everyone's aspiring to be, is at this level of these people. And they've chosen to spend their time and money to be on an island, to swim, ride bikes, climb rocks, dinner time stories, and early bedtime. So they had that at 7. So if the end game is to be back where you was at 7, it was just this like kind of realization that people are missing their stop, you know, in life. Actually, it's much easier to achieve contentment and happiness than you think. It's within reach. The fact that people chase and chase and chase until it's too late, and then they miss, they think, I should have just got off on that station back there. You know, that happens way too often. And I think always free is this state of being content. And I think it's what everyone wants.
You talk about different types of freedoms. Like, which one do you think is most important to achieve?
Mental freedom.
First?
Mental freedom. Because if you like, I ask people what is freedom, and they say, well, I just want to do what I want, wherever I want, with whoever I want. And I say, okay, well, wait, what do you want then? And they go, I don't know. And they don't know. And if I said, I hand you 100 million, and you can do whatever you want on Monday morning, they haven't got a clue. They'll tell me something that they think's important, like that isn't really important to them. I'll get a Ferrari, or I'll go to this thing, or, you know, and it's like, that's not what you truly want. So if you're not mentally free and you don't know who you are, you'll always be told how to spend your money. You'll always have your calendar filled by other people's agendas. You'll be trying to please and appease people or show off to people. So mental freedom, without mental freedom and knowing who you are and setting goals that are congruent with who you are as a person, you will never be free. I've met people born into wealth who could go anywhere they want, do anything they want, and they turn to drugs because they've got no fulfillment. They don't know who they are. They've got no purpose whatsoever, no meaning, and they end up crashing out. So mental freedom is definitely the one.
Do you think some entrepreneurs take it too far then?
I think they don't know where they're going.
Yeah, because you're like the relentless pursuit for excellence, and someone who's at 100 million trying to get to a billion. Someone at a billion,
but they don't know why they're getting to a billion. Like, why are you getting to a billion? I was having a conversation with someone when I was here in June, and they said, our next target's 50 million. And I said, why 50 million? Bit of a round number. And he said, well, that's just the next target. Yeah, that's the next milestone. And I said, you're going to have to like sacrifice probably 4 years of not seeing your kids much, not seeing your wife much to get to 50 million. Why 50 million? Anyway, after a long conversation over dinner, it turns out that he's really just trying to press some ex that he had, or some boss that he had, right? So I'm thinking, so you're willing to do that just to get to a number, because you're a slave to someone else's thoughts about you who does not give a shit about you. And when you hit it, you won't care anyway. You'll be on to the next thing. But you're going to sacrifice 4 years of your life for that. And I see this all the time, whether it's 50 million or, oh yeah, we're going to get to a 7-figure business and all this kind of stuff. Why? You know, do you need a 7-figure business? That's my question. Like, what do you want as a person? How much does that cost? What will make you fulfilled? Let's get there. That's why when I got there, everything else was a bonus. It was like, I truly knew what I wanted. That's why I have 0 goals today. Like I don't have any goals whatsoever, because if I live every day like today, I'll die a very, very happy person. Anything happens a bonus, like Necker Island. It's just a bonus that comes along as a result of writing a book. And, you know, yeah. So I think not knowing where you're going, it's not so much chase. I think it's, you don't actually know where you're heading in the first place.
Do you think there's a damaging hustle culture then? Because you hear so many creators talk about it, so many big names in business talk about work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, like sacrifice everything for and it's like, people are, okay, this is what I've got to do. But is there actually almost a toxic element to that, which people shouldn't be following?
It goes back to mental freedom, and you're trying to please whether you're trying to please and appease mum and dad, or you're trying to please and appease someone who's Andrew Tate or a hustle culture guy, you're a slave to someone's ideas, and you haven't sat there and thought about what you want in life. Because okay, you've got to hustle, you've got to do 10-hour days or 12-hour days, 15-hour days to get to $1 million. What do you want $1 million for? Like, and I don't think anyone has the answer to that question. No. Truly. What do you want £1 million for? Yeah. What do you want £1 million for? Because
that car you'll get bored of after a week.
But that's spending it.
Yeah.
So do you want £1 million to spend it on stuff? Because you've got no freedom then, right? Yeah. So what do you want £1 million for? Do you want to buy time, or do you want to buy things?
Yeah.
And that is why the other two freedoms are mobility freedom and financial freedom, because you can make loads of money and great businesses and all that. But I've met loads of people with great earning money. They have to earn it every month because they got no money. Making money and building freedom are two totally separate skills, and entrepreneurs aren't taught both. They're not even preparing for both. They just think miraculously one day when they exit a business, they're going to have a load of money, but and then they'll miraculously become a great manager of money. It's not the case. You know, you're a great product and team leader and sales person and all that kind of stuff. You're not a great investor, and you've never been a great investor. So why, when you exit a business, will you miraculously become a great investor? In fact, you'll be shit, because you're an entrepreneur and you're overly optimistic about things and you think everything's going to work. And when you get 100 million, you'll be dishing out way too much money on lots and lots of opportunities. And then you'll get anxiety because the pot's going down. Then you'll have a breakdown. And I saw this happen. You know, there was people on Necker Island that had 100 million exits and they were petrified.
What's your advice? This is actually a selfish one. So somebody asked me the other day, like, what does success mean to you? And I really thought about it. And I think it's momentum. Like, I don't have an end goal. Like, I don't want like 1 million or 10 million or whatever. It's just like, I feel most fulfilled when I feel like I'm moving forward towards something, right? So it's like, but then I can see the downside to that being like, well, I'm always going to be potentially chasing them because I always want momentum.
Yeah.
What like, just, it's a bit of like, I feel like super fulfilled and really happy with everything we're doing. It's like, fine, we're not like retired the whole bloodline yet, and we haven't got matching Lamborghinis and penthouses. It's like, but it's like, it's going in the right direction, and like, I don't care if I'm not a multimillionaire yet, but it's like, this is the really good thing. Like, so what would you say to that?
Well, I think interestingly, you know, you mentioned retiring the bloodline, right? Whatever your values are have come from what you perceive to be missing most in your childhood, maybe, right? So you probably value what you perceive to be missing in your childhood, right? So for me, that was security. I didn't have any security as a kid. We had bailiffs knocking on the door and all this kind of stuff, which I told you in the last one. So I valued security, and I just found out that money provided some security. So then I become obsessed with managing money and building ultimate security, where I'm in this bubble and you know, everything's fine. So I have kids, and my kids' void as children is chaos. They didn't have, that was missing. There was no chaos. They had everything, right? So now their highest value is trying to create some chaos. And it's like, I don't want dad's help. They feel like anything that they achieve is attributable to me in some way. So then there's a resentment kicking in for me, even though I've done everything that I thought, you know, I want them to do this. But of course they don't want, you know, they've never had struggle. So how can they appreciate it? So I was talking to Robin on the last podcast, and I said, what would you do Monday morning? She said, I'd take all my family and I'd take them all away. right? And I said, so that's your highest value. What if they don't want to do that? You know, you're now projecting your values onto someone else, which is what everyone does every day. And now they're going to come along with you, and then you're going to feel they're ungrateful because they're not like showing the same appreciation as you do for this particular endeavor. And then they're also going to be thinking, oh, perhaps I'm a bad person. I should enjoy this. You know? And then they're going to be looking up to you. So then they start becoming a slave to your projected values. And this is what happens on a mass basis on social media. One of the things that people ask me, I say to people, why do you want freedom? And they say, I want to spend more time with my family. And I say, how much time? And they go, what do you mean? Well, all the time. And I go, well, all right. If I grant your wish Monday morning and you have to spend every minute with your family,
God.
right? So exactly, right? Exactly, because they've got unrealistic expectations about what that looks like. Therefore, if I grant their wish, they're sitting there Monday, they get guilty because they're like, I don't want to be with these people, you know, because they haven't taken the time to actually think about realistically what they want. We just go along with these ideas that we should spend more time together. We should be doing this, like should all over yourself, you know, and that's what creates a disconnect between who you really are and what other people want you to do. And then you follow that narrative. We should be making money in Dubai. We should be doing this, you know, and
it's a dangerous path.
This place is probably the worst for it as well, because you see so many people doing well or telling you they're doing well. There's a lot of people faking it, but I think it's because the expectations are up here. So just being around, having conversations with people, it can be easy to chat to someone and feel disheartened, but also if you can channel it the right way, you can feel motivated by these people. So that, I think, like you say, it comes down a lot to what you want, but I feel like a lot of people, especially here, struggle with the idea of, well, this person's doing this, so I need to do this, but why?
Definitely that.
The Joneses.
Yeah,
definitely that. But going back to your question, you know, it's more of a mission that you're on. So for me, I'm on a mission, right? So I had the years. I think you should have a lot of goals and you should strive to get to where you want to be. But the first step is knowing what you want to be and what you want. I'll tell you where all this came from. I had a boss called George when I was an electrician, and every day he'd pick me up in his van and we went to work, drove into London. We'd have like massive, like head-butting debates all the way to work, like proper, like blood-boiling debates with best mates. We'd get out, have a coffee, and it was like the highlight of my day. I love debates. And one of that mornings I said to him, I want a Lexus car. And he said, how much does it cost? I said, it's about £250 a month. And he went, yeah, but how much does it really cost? And I was like, £250 a month. That's what the finance said. He said, yeah, but what about MOT, like the car, the insurance, the wear and tear on the thing, servicing, tax, all this kind of stuff, right? Fuel. And I was like, I've no idea. And he said, well, unless you've priced all that up, you haven't really considered owning it. And I said, you're right. So I went home, worked it all out. It was about £650 a month. I said, you're right, it's £650 a month. But I knew exactly what I would need to get that car. It then became realistic what I needed, right? So I took it further and I basically mapped out my whole perfect life, like all the things that I wanted and exactly how much it would cost on this spreadsheet. And I knew what my lifestyle cost would be. I even projected forward 15 years to allow for inflation so that it would like double every so by the time I got there, it would be relative to today's living costs. And I said, this is the cost of my ideal life. So at that point, I knew exactly where I'd be happy. And then when I hit that, it was like, tick, now I'm happy. So anything after this is a bonus. So now I'm on this mission to just share information. I get fulfillment from that because I'm helping people. And that will unlock milestones for me. Just as a result, like I'll be speaking on stages, but I'm not saying I've got to speak on that stage and 50 stages. It's just unlocking now as a snowball of being on this mission of sharing. The fact that I'm getting invited onto podcasts is because I'm sharing. I want to share this information. It's not like I've got to get on 20 podcasts this month. You know, it's just happening, and that's like a mission which I'll never stop. And eventually, you know, might reach 8 billion people. You know, I might die and reach everyone in the world. Maybe.
Yeah, but there'll be 10 by then. You haven't adjusted.
Yeah, it's not your inflation.
All right, last couple of questions. What do your haters get right about you?
Not a lot now, because congruency is a big thing to me. And I think if you've got a camera on your wall 24/7 and you're happy for that to be live streamed out to the world, you're congruent. If the answer's no to that question, you're not congruent. You're saying things and doing different things. So you're saying things behind closed doors, doing different things, telling people to do one thing, doing the opposite, talking about people behind their backs, all that kind of stuff. I'm congruent. So everything, if you come to my house, I invite people to my house, my studio's at my house, they see my family, see my kids, nothing to hide. How I live my life is what I talk about online. And therefore, there are no haters, right? If you step out of your lane and you start talking about, so haters' comments only hurt when they're true. So if someone said, if I did a bit of content and I just stepped out my lane a bit and tried to be a bit more profound and like said something that I wasn't too sure on, but I said it, and they said, "You fucking idiot," that you don't know what you're talking about. It might hurt because I think, I didn't really. I better stop that or learn a bit more about that. Or if I'm overweight and I've put a bit of weight on and I'm not really happy with it, and someone says you're getting a bit fat, it's going to hurt because I know. It's like, yeah, I do need to do that. So I love haters because I see them as a mechanism to bring me back down to who I really am. It's like you're not happy with that, so sort it out. If people are telling you you're amazing all the time, you get complacent. You get fat because you're just like, oh yeah, you start believing you're the greatest when actually, you're just a person. So what happens is when you are congruent and true to yourself and you're happy with yourself, the haters disappear. So I always want to use haters as this kind of metric on, am I being congruent or not? So
if they don't disappear, I guess you don't care about them because what they're saying is incorrect.
They just, I mean, if they said to me, "Oh, you don't know about money" or whatever, it's like calling a skinny kid fat, or it's just, you're not going to hear it. That's what I mean. It's not there. It's
nonsense.
It's not there. So
where can people find you if they like you after this episode?
Alwaysfree.com. Yeah, get the book, get the Audible, and you can find all my channels on there.
Jason, Thank you very much. True gent.
That's been a pleasure. Thanks,
Cheers, Jason. Mate. Thank you.